What's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Hope you are having a great start to your weekend, a great start to your year. Happy New Year, by the way. It's 2022, first day, and it's an active day as far as the weather. Severe weather is ongoing right now in areas of Kentucky, Tennessee, and it's going to start to crank up across the deep south like Mississippi and Alabama and even Georgia as we get later into the afternoon. There's already ongoing flash flood warnings, ongoing tornado warnings. If you're looking for a way to keep up to date with that, this video will probably not be for you. Guys, I'm going to start to focus on the snow threat. For the same areas where you might get severe weather today, could get snow maybe as early as tomorrow evening, and then we're going to talk about the snow threat from North Carolina and Virginia in the mid-Atlantic. As it's upticking now, it's trending upwards, and there's definitely areas that can certainly see some accumulating snow, potentially even light, even outside the mountains. So that's really what we're going to break down in this video. So if you're looking to get updates for the severe weather, that's a now thing, so it's happening right now. Definitely follow YouTubers like Ryan Hall who go live during these outbreaks. There's a lot of other great weather YouTubers who do it too. That's something that I'm going to love to incorporate into my YouTube channel here in the future. Currently, I just don't have an appealing enough setup, and really I don't have the connections to really go live for you guys. You know, I've tried it in the past and it was just real fuzzy and didn't work out really well, but in the future I do plan on doing that. As far as the storm chasing plan that I had for today, I actually drove about 30 or 45 minutes from my house and then just decided to turn around. A couple of reasons why is just because I just miss my family. I got a wonderful wife. I got two little girls, and my two little girls just got back from their grandma's yesterday from being away for a few days. So turning around and leaving them again was really hard for me to do. I'm really a homebody. I like staying at home even when the passion calls. Second thing is I just had this uncanny gut feeling that this just wasn't the one to chase. So that was another reason. The third reason being is because I had to use my new car because my old car that I was using before I bought my new car, basically I'm waiting for a part to come in to get it repaired, which will be done late next week. So to make the long story short, I'm looking forward to storm chasing because that is an important aspect of my channel, an important thing that I do with this. I don't like just to sit behind the screen and talk weather. I love to be in it too. So looking forward to 2022. I'm sorry I couldn't get out there with you guys and really show y'all what was going on. But thoughts and prayers to anybody affected by the tornadoes today and the severe weather. I hope you guys stay safe. Find a way to get warnings. There's so many ways you can get warnings, and definitely take advantage of it here. So what we're going to talk about is this snow, and I love talking snow. You know, if you've been following my channel for any length of period of time, you know I like talking about winter weather more than any other kind of weather. But here we go. As we're getting into overnight tomorrow night, the severe weather threat goes away. Winter becomes the main focus again, and then you can have some snow breaking out as early as late tomorrow evening or overnight into places like Nashville. Rain changes to snow, and even watch out areas around Alabama, northern Alabama. Y'all could see some rain turning to a brief period of snow. As far as accumulations for this area, I don't see much. I think the most you could see is maybe if it came down hard enough, it would make the ground white quickly and then melt away. But as far as you getting a little further into this area, a little further east into the higher elevations of the mountains of Tennessee, North Carolina, and Virginia, you guys could really see this. But if you check this out, this is that secondary low we've been talking about. We're going to look at the vorticity map here in a second and tell you and really show you on this map how much it's been trending further southwest, which means it's digging more. This thing is now trending to where it's going to close off over the mid-south and deep south, and really become its own aspect to this storm, its own entity, if you will, and really just develop into an all-out, maybe mini snowstorm for areas of Virginia, especially southern and southeastern areas of Virginia. And then look at this next frame Monday morning for the GFS. This is probably overdone, but what happens here is you have this cold air filtering in the upper areas of the atmosphere, not even upper, just barely aloft, barely above our heads. You have this cold air filtering in. You have this heavy precipitation because you have a deepening storm system now forming. And then if you click a sounding, say right in here, you can really see these. Basically, you see these numbers right here. 200 millibars is really, really far up in the atmosphere, thousands of thousands of thousands of feet. But just around the 850 range, 900 range, this is, maybe just a few thousand feet up in the air. This is when we talk about that low-level jet. But right here at the surface, you see where it says 33 degrees, for example. I clicked an area where this heavy precipitation is. You look at the DGZs, this basically tells you that there's heavy precipitation. And even though you got 1 degree above freezing, this 0 degree Celsius line is your 32 degree line, and it goes slanted up in the atmosphere. So when you see this red line is what the temperature is the further you go up in the atmosphere. Notice it goes below that 0 degree line, which is 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So aloft, you have ample enough cold air. A lot of times with these systems, you have what you call a warm nose, where maybe at the surface it's in the low 30s, upper 20s, but up in the upper areas of the atmosphere, you have a little bit of a warm nose where the temperatures above our well above our heads, go basically above freezing, which allows just for sleet to fall and never really gets cold enough to reform back into snow or freezing rain. But that goes into a whole nother story. With this system, you're going to have cold air aloft moving in with this heavier precipitation. But the big question is, you got soil temperatures, you got surface temperatures just in general. How warm is it at the surface? But really, there's so many question marks with this. One is, how far north does this precipitation get? Does it get north enough to where Washington, D.C. could get into some snow? Does it get north enough where southern areas of New Jersey can get a little bit of snow? But this is a solid, what you call a deformation band, showing up over Virginia and North Carolina, and it's getting very close to the column crashing, which is the areas of the atmosphere around Charlotte. But the mountains, around Asheville, I think you guys could get a couple inches of snow. Higher elevations could get more than that, above 3,000 feet and so. But this isn't a crazy event. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through all the model runs here. We'll go to the next run here. You see, as it gets into Monday afternoon, temperatures actually get warm enough to where any precipitation left is actually rain. But you got to watch the trends with this. This low pressure in the long term is trending more north. So now you have some snow trying to show up, and the real big time cutoff in snow is trying to show off. Let me talk a little bit more clear here, you guys, and slow down. But basically, the shield of snow is starting to trend a little bit more north. So you got to watch out for areas in New York City, maybe even Boston, but I really don't think it's going to get that far north. Let's look at the latest HRRR model. Of course, we have these storms moving through. What happens after that, you get the storms on through. The shield of precipitation starts to fire up in response to a developing low pressure here. And this brings a band of rain and light snow into Nashville, maybe as far south as northern Alabama. This gets into the mountains. This low pressure begins to crank up right over South Carolina, literally right over my house. You got snow starting to fall maybe in Knoxville, Gatlinburg, these higher elevations in basically North Carolina and Tennessee and Virginia. Y'all get a nice brief burst of snow for several hours. Then you start to get into the 3 to 4 to 5 a.m. range. The latest HRRR model shows snow breaking out over the triad of North Carolina, getting very close to areas like Greensboro. Snow falling from Greensboro to Winston-Salem to Raleigh. All these areas, if something like the HRRR model would happen, that means you would get some snow falling in the early morning hours of the morning before the sun comes up from Monday morning, and then it really cranks up, maybe around Elizabethtown, North Carolina, near Norfolk. Watch out for these areas right here in northeast North Carolina and southeast Virginia as you're waking up and getting ready for work. If you have to work Monday, you could legitimately see some flakes flying around. So let's look at the RGEM model, which from everything I'm seeing is actually performing well with how this storm might come together. This is a very aggressive model. It cranks up this low pressure right here, closes it off already, has snow as far west as Memphis and as far south as central Mississippi, brings a decent band of snow into northern Alabama, brings snow into Nashville, brings heavy snow into the mountains, brings snow all the way into north Georgia, cranks up this low pressure. It's a little bit further north, therefore the precipitation, and it looks like the cold air intrusion is not quite as there, but develops this significant band of precipitation in North Carolina that could fall in the form of heavy snow. And if something like these short range models are showing, this would advertise maybe a period of thunder snow. But don't hold my word to it or anything like that. But you look at the RAP model, the RAP model, which I don't look at very much, is always a very aggressive model, but it shows it right there. This would indicate an all-out snow event for North Carolina. This brings snow all the way into upstate South Carolina and the PD of South Carolina. I think that's a little bit ridiculous, but that's a model. You look at the NAM, and we shoot it through the NAM here. The NAM is a convective heavy model, so it's going to really overdo convection, if you will, as far as the intensity of it. But here it comes. Low pressure develops, has light to moderate snow in North Alabama and areas of Tennessee, brings a band of heavy snow into the mountains, and then here's that deformation band develops in central North Carolina and really gets going here, and it could bring some heavy rain or heavy wet snow into areas of North Carolina and Raleigh and things like that. Now, one thing I want to look at is these I always want to say sea surface temperatures. I'm still thinking it's hurricane season. But these soil temperatures, right now, for example, here in Lexington, the soil temperature is around 70 degrees. That's ridiculous for January 1st, by the way. But if you make a more broader look at this and you close this out, these are soil temperatures into the 60s into North Carolina. And that is basically because of this response of this huge area basically the southeast ridge has dominated our pattern, this very warm and basically humid pattern that's dominated the southeast and eastern U.S. I mean, soil temperatures are pretty warm as far north as Philadelphia and New York City. So it's pretty wild. So you're going to need some snow to fall pretty hard to lay down a quick foundation for any quick accumulation. But as far as the vortice energy from this, what's going on here is I want you to focus on this line right here. Notice how right into here, this line is a complete circle. Now, it's a very ugly circle, but basically what I'm saying is it's a closed off area. So that tells us that this low pressure really closes off. It becomes negatively tilted as early as the wee hours of the morning, Monday morning. When this happens, you really can get an expansive shield of precipitation. It helps to bring the cold air down. And we have our system. Now, if you go 8 runs prior, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, it's not closed off in the same period, but it keeps slowing down and it keeps deepening. And now it's completely closed off over the Mid-South. And really, I tell you what, if you have a little bit more cold air and the soil temperatures were a little bit warmer, we had already had some cold air maybe in, this could be an all-out snowstorm for areas of the Mid-Atlantic and even North Carolina. But as far as accumulations, the GFS, this is going to show a 10-to-1 ratio here. So a 10-to-1 ratio means 10 inches of snow to 1 inch of liquid equivalent, basically precipitation. So basically, if 1 inch of precipitation falls, 10 inches it would be in the form of 10 inches of snow. That's not going to be the case here. You're not going to have 10-to-1 ratios. The higher ratios will be in the mountains, but even then, not the case. So you're not going to get 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 inches of snow in this area in Southeast Virginia. You're not. You can cut them totals probably by 80%, and I know that's a lot. But I think the most you're going to see in these areas is maybe a couple inches of snow. But that's a big deal, considering the fact that you're getting such a drastic pattern change here. It's just really incredible. As far as back here in Tennessee, you're still seeing the shades of blue come up, but that's more of just a dusting of snow. The latest HRRR model is a little bit more realistic, I think. But I still don't think you're going to get widespread 2 to 3 inches across North Carolina. I really don't think. I think this is a little realistic over Tennessee, maybe a dusting 1/2 inch in certain areas, depending on how heavy the snow falls and how fast the snow falls. But this area in Virginia and northeast North Carolina, I really think someone could see 1 to 2 inches of snow for sure. I mean, that's significant. I know I keep saying that, but it's such a big deal considering the fact that we've been so warm for 10 days, or however long it's been, at least 10 days. We've been so warm, or 8 or 9 days, I'm not sure. Well, we've been so warm, and then a pattern change comes in with the system, and then bang, just like that, we get snow. So it really tells you how dynamic this storm is. It really does. It's really, truly incredible. Now, that RGEM model I told you about is incredibly aggressive here. It shows an all-out winter storm here from North Carolina and Virginia, and a nice snow event for the Mid-South, and that's just overdone. I don't think it's going to happen. But it's crazy to see. It really just goes you to tell you that there is going to be an intense band of snow. That sets up in this area. I really think there is going to be. But as far as the National Weather Service here, this is their realistic approach to this. This is what they believe is going to happen. And they're saying you're going to see as much as a couple inches of snow, maybe a few inches of snow in the higher elevations in the mountains. And then it's picking up on this area now that maybe you could see a half an inch to an inch of snow here in Virginia. As far as down here in Tennessee and Alabama, maybe just flurries. So National Weather Service is going conservative right now. Sorry, I keep moving my nose. It's itching like crazy for some reason right now, probably because of my sinuses. But anyways, I'm going to keep you updated on this. I'm going to give you another video tonight on this because this is an ongoing situation. It's going to be crazy to see what happens with this. But that's all I got, guys. Y'all have a great afternoon.